Hey everybody, Tony Johnson here, your customer experience leader. Welcome to our Live at 5:30. We are dead smack dab in the middle of the Great Service Comeback. And I know that because today and yesterday, I heard some really interesting pieces coming out of Washington. So if you've been paying attention to what's going on, there's something called the Council to Reopen America has actually been formed. And it's got Steve Mnuchin and some of the folks from the federal government on there. And they are actually going to be taking charge of how we integrate back into our new normal. Because let's face it, where we are right now, we really cannot just jump right back in full throttle again. We've got to make sure we do it right, that we do it methodically. And honestly, that's not just a good piece for the federal government. That is an even more amazing piece for you to be thinking about as well. So we can't, again, just jump in full speed ahead. We need to have a plan. And that's really a part of what I like to talk about in these daily videos is what is your plan going to look like? And so, I was talking to a retail executive. And she and I were going back and forth and talking about, what is new normal going to look like? And in the retail venues, I grew up in the restaurant business, right? I spent a lot of time in there my entire life. And cleanliness and sanitation, well, it's like working in the medical field. It just goes hand in hand. But think about what this is going to mean for your average electronics store, for your home improvement store, for your clothing store, where they usually used to just keep, the windows clean and, people used to like to go up and smash their nose on them and stuff and keep the glass clean. Now they actually have to think about what are those door handles going to be like? How are they going to keep those sanitized? My local Publix, for example, I've noticed that they are wiping down the shopping carts as you come in to make sure that you see that they're sanitized before they hand them off. I don't think that stuff's going to go away. I think we're going to have to continue to do more and more of that. But think about budget. Because right now, everybody is trying to do the best job they can of reducing the spread, flattening the curve. And I think we put a lot of budget into there. A lot of folks have brought on help to keep these things going, but that's not going to be a forever solution. So think about what is that going to look like long term? How are you going to make sure that you integrate in these amazing best practices? Because sanitation, folks, it's the new normal, but you're also going to have to make sure it's not a budget beater. It's not a budget buster. So you're going to have to work within the confines of what your budget is. So you're going to have to think smart about how you integrate in, because if you look at everybody's job, I guarantee you, no matter how lean you are, you probably have cashiers or stockers or folks roaming around your businesses who could do just a little bit more. So think about how you're going to integrate into their daily work so that you can take care of that. The other piece that I wanted to share today was around leadership. And so this is sort of a dichotomy of what I just spoke about. So when I think about leading teams, and hopefully you have been reaching out and talking to your teams and keeping them very close and engaged, because again, anxiety is a nasty thing. So you want to make sure you keep everybody as energized as possible, keep their anxiety down, make sure they know what's going on. And a big part of that is amazing communication. So are you still communicating? And as you think about that, as you bring your team back in, you're probably thinking about things like your team meeting. You're probably thinking about things like sharpening the skill set of those that are coming back, refreshing their service skills, hopefully. All of those things are going to be very, very important, because how you treat your team, and this is a write or down, right? Get out that pencil right now. How you treat your team is absolutely how they're going to treat your customers, your guests, your consumers, and that's going to be your customer's perception of your service. And so when you take that time to really do that, you're going to find that they actually pay that love forward like 1,000,000%. You can do the math on that. It is literally 1,000,000%. But again, think about that. So think about how you're going to train your team, how you're going to show them a little love, how you're going to engage with them. And the true measure of that's going to be your engagement surveys, your overall retention. And frankly, one of the biggest indicators you're going to see of how well you have been engaging your team during this social isolation and layoffs and furloughs is how many of your people come back. How many of your people went on to another organization? How many waited for you and came back to you as a leader? That is going to be the truest indicator you're going to see of the job that you did in terms of keeping your team engaged during this period. So I'm Tony Johnson, your customer experience leader. I will be here for you every single day, live at 5:30, sharing some tips. Peek behind the curtain. Tomorrow's tip comes from the audience. There was actually a question of how can I, as an individual, contribute to the customer service mission and experience of my organization as I come back off of social distancing and get called back. That was actually a viewer question. I will be tackling that for you live tomorrow at 5:30. Until then, again, Tony Johnson, I will see you tomorrow, 5:30 Eastern Standard. Have a great day. Stay safe.